we are going to read the mid-unit test together as you answer the questions on Edulastic. So I am going to be marking up the paper as we go, and you can answer as you go as well. So I am going to first get my highlighter ready here and highlight question 1. Here we go. Amanda needs to write the number 13 and 31/100ths as a decimal on her science lab report. How should she write this in standard form? So the number is 13, you're looking for 13 and 31/100ths. 13 and 31/100ths. You're going to pick A, B, C, or D for which one has that correctly written in standard form. You can pause if you need to answer it, and then we can move on to the next question. Here we go, number 2. So you're going to identify the decimal each grid has shaded. So for this first grid, what is shaded? 6/10ths or 6/100ths. And it's a drop down on Edulastic for you to select. And then for the second grid, is it 6/10ths or 6/100ths? So you'll select those. And then the second part is using those numbers, we are going to create a multiplication equation to represent the relationship. So knowing that we have to have multiplication is going to kind of give this away for you. So which two numbers are you going to select to be multiplied by what that would give you one of the other numbers? Okay. So you can pause and figure that one out and get ready to move on to number 3. All right, number 3 says, Dylan says there are 3 correct ways to express the equivalent, which also means equal, of this number right here. I can't say it. I almost did. It would give away the word version. So we have a 4.903, and they're listed below. We need to select all that apply. So an important thing to remember here is that they are saying we have more than one answer. And actually, they were nice and said there are 3. So which one of these would be a correct way to say this number? This one says 4 and 903 thousandths. So check and see if that's 4 and 903 thousandths. B, you have an expanded form to see if it is this number. C is an expanded form. Now D and E are an expanded form with fractions. So D is that ripped version with the digit and then the fraction showing the place value. And then E has it just a little bit together. So you're selecting 3 of those answers that are the correct way to write that number. Okay. So select 3 of those. You can pause if you need to, and then we can move on to question 4. All right, question 4. 5 cats at the veterinarian's office had the following weight in pounds. These are big cats. Which weights round to 9 pounds? Select all the correct answers. So we need to find all the correct answers for rounding to 9 pounds. Okay, so you need to round each of these options to the ones place value so that you can see if it becomes a 9. Okay. do that now, and you can pause and then move on to number 5. Number 5 says, I've always debated how to say this name. PH technically is an F sound, so Fong, interesting. Fong told his friend Amelia, that when you multiply any number by 10 to the third power, you can just write 3 zeros after the last digit of the number. So you can just put 3 zeros on at the end. He gives the example 5 times 10 to the third power equaling 5,000 to prove that this is always true. Always? Amelia disagrees and gives this example. 5/10 times 10 to the third power. Didn't tell us the answer there. So this is Amelia's example to prove that Fong's rule is not always true. So you have 2 parts to type in Edulastic. Who is correct? And explain your answers. How do you know? Why'd you choose who's correct or who's wrong? Go ahead and type that in, and then you can move on to number 6. Last 2 coming up. So the number 6 says the weights of 4 loaves of bread baked at a bakery are shown below. We have to round each loaf of bread to the nearest hundredth of a pound. So we're going to take each of these numbers and round it to the hundredths place value. So you might want a piece of paper to be able to see and do that. But you're going to say, type in what's the pumpernickels rounded to the nearest hundredth, the rye rounded to the nearest hundredth, sourdough bread rounded to the nearest hundredth, and whole wheat rounded to the nearest hundredth. Once you've rounded those to the nearest hundredth, then you're going to put them in order based on the numbers before we rounded. So these numbers right here, what would they be in least to greatest order? So you're going to drag them in their spot to be in order from least to greatest. So round them and then put them in order from the beginning pounds, not the rounded ones. Okay? So pause and get that one answered. And then let's look at 7. 7 says, Carlos is organizing books for his class library. Fiction books make up 37% of the books in the library. If there are 100 books, how many of the books are fiction? So you're going to type in the number, how many books would that 37% be? Then you're going to fill in the blanks to represent the amount of fiction books as a fraction and as a decimal. So the percent's already here, 37%. What's the fraction? That also equals 37%. And then what's the decimal that also equals 37%? You can type those in. And you're welcome to get on my Zoom meeting and look over anything before you submit. And I can't wait to see your results. Great job.